guys, it's Kylie, and in today's video I'm going to share with you how to make some awesome Olaf inspired Disney ears. So today I'm going to go through and share how to make some awesome Olaf inspired Disney ears. These are perfect if you want to do an Olaf or Frozen themed Disney bound. I like how simple these are, and they're pretty easy to make. They aren't complex, and it's just simple white fabric. You don't have to have any fancy design fabric. It's simple white fabric, so they're not very expensive to make either, which I think is awesome. And I'm super excited to show you guys how to make these. But if you guys are interested in more Disney and Disney DIY videos, definitely hit the subscribe button, turn the bell so you get notified every time I upload. Post tons of Disney content on this channel, and we do still have a few more days of Vlogmas that I'm posting every single day of, and I hope you guys enjoy learning how to make these ears. So this is the pile of stuff that we're going to be using to make our Olaf ears. I have my hot glue gun, which I'm going to plug in. I have my template for my ears. I also have my template for my bow. For the ears, I'm not sure if I'm going to use the trim, but I pulled out some white trim. I have a headband, and I will have everything linked in the description down below that I'm able to find. White headband, I have some brown felt. I also have a little Olaf bead that I might put in the middle of the ears. We'll see if I add that as well. I have some orange fabric for my bow. I have some black felt for our buttons. And I'm going to use this soft, I'm not exactly sure what this is called, but it's almost like a blankety material. I'm going to use this for the ears themselves. I just love how soft this is, and I think this is perfect for Olaf ears. I also do have my scissors, a Sharpie, some polyfill, and then some cardboard to cut out our ears. So what we're going to start off with is cutting out the cardboard and everything else. We're going to start with the ear sewing line template, and we're just going to trace that 4 times and then cut it out. So we're just going around, and we are just going to trace it. I'm using just a Sharpie to trace it, going around the outside of it, and then we're going to do this 4 times to then cut out for our ears. So now we have our 4 pieces of cardboard cut out, and now the next thing I'm going to do is our fabric. So I'm just going to find an end of our fabric. I think I've used this end before, so I'll use this one. And I'm just going to trace out with the ear cutting line 4 different ears. This is nice fabric because it's all one color, so you don't have to worry about where you position it. I like to also use this fabric because it's nice and stretchy, so you can definitely fill up your ears and make really poofy ears. So I'm just going around and I'm going to trace out our ears. I like to make them slightly larger than this template, just because how I like to make them. This template's a little small, but I'm just going around and tracing it and then adding a little extra so that we have a little flap to be able to close them up. And I'm just going to trace out 4 ears. So now I have all my pieces. I put my scraps to the side, and I'm going to move my fabric out of the way. The last thing I'm going to cut is the bow. We'll do the decorations at the end. I will also need that white fabric for our headband. I'm going to be covering it in the white fabric. I just like the way that looks better. So for our bow, this is just an 8x11 piece of paper. I trimmed off the extra 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to go around and cut this out. So I'm just going to put some guidelines to just then trace this, and I will be cutting an extra little strip to use for the center piece of our bow, so I'm going to go and cut this. So now that I have everything, it's time to start gluing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pieces of fabric. I guess I didn't cut these 2 apart, so I'm going to cut these 2 apart. And we're going to lay out our fabric, and then we're going to glue on the cardboard. So the way I do this is I lay out the fabric, and the side that I want the design to the back, so I'm just going to use the fabric like this, and we're going to glue them on. So all I'm going to do is take my glue and go around the outside. Just put a little layer of glue around the outside and just fold this fabric. You don't want to stretch it while you're putting it on, just because you want to be able to stretch it once you put the polyfill in it. So I'm just going around and placing the fabric. And I'm going to do this for all 4 ears. The next thing I'm going to do is glue our bow. So the way I do the bows is I draw a strip down one side and I fold it over, and I will add more glue as needed. And then I do a strip down the other side, fold it in half. I'm just eyeballing the half because I've done this so many times. I just kind of know where the halfway mark is. Then we do the same thing this way. We fold it into the middle about halfway. And again from the other side, fold it into the middle about halfway. And then from this, we're just going to kind of glue down the excess sides that aren't connected, and we're going to put that to the side. We're then going to take our strip, we're going to go down each side and fold it in half to make a nice strip of fabric to be the centerpiece of our bow. And I'm going to glue this end just so that it's nice and secure too. So we have our strip for our fabric and we have our bow. I'm going to add a little bit more glue to the bow, and then we're going to fold the bow up. So all I'm going to do for the fold is an accordion style fold. So we're going up and back a couple times. I like to end with them both facing towards the back, so if I can't get it based on the first fold, I might play around with it. I think this actually came out pretty good for the first fold, so I'm just going to kind of fiddle with it a little bit, and then find the center and put some glue in the center to hold it in, and same on the back, put some glue down the center, and just kind of squeeze that together to really hold it. I will fluff the bow when I put it on the ears. And then I'm going to take a nice large dollop of glue, put that on the back right here, and then we're going to put our piece of fabric around our bow. So I'm just going to twist that around our bow twice, make sure it's lined up how I want it, and then put another dollop of glue on the back and secure that down. And then I will be trimming off this excess just with some scissors because we don't need that extra bow. And this bow looks good, and this will be the centerpiece of our headband, and we will be gluing it on right there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our pieces of our ears. I'm going to take them and I am going to stuff them up with some fabric. I love the way these stretch. The fabric I'm using stretches so good. It's not exactly felt, but it's a very soft fabric. So I'm going to kind of make them on the poofier side just because that's how I want. I also like snowmen, think usually are pretty rounded, so I'm going to put some nice poof to them, and then once we're done I'm going to take them and I'm going to put some glue on the back, and then I'm going to take this piece of fabric and fold it over, and you might need to trim off some of the edges and the overlap, but I'm going to trim them off and do this for all 4 ears. So now I'm going to go through and glue 2 of these together, so I'm just going to figure out kind of the fluff level of each one of them because they don't always end up perfect. So I'm going to go through and say like which 2 I think are the fluffiest. I think I might switch them like this and just kind of glue them together. So what I'm going to do is take our glue and on this side just put a glue dollop strip around the whole outside. And then I'm going to swirl it a little bit in the middle, and then I'm going to take the opposite ear and just squeeze that together. And while I do that, I'm then going to put some pressure on them, on there like a book or something, just to hold them together. So I'm just going to squeeze and then put them under a book. And same thing for the other side. I'm just going around with a nice strip of glue and then pushing these 2 sides together under a book to hold them all in together. So now I'm going to cut out some felt. So for the black we need 3 little circles. So these ones I'm just going to eyeball and cut out 3 circles around the same size. I'm not going to like trace these out because I can just trim them up to make them around the same size. And I find for Olaf it's okay if they're not perfect circles because they're little pieces of coal, so they're not going to be perfect circles. So now I'm going to put my felt to the side. I'm going to pull out my brown felt, and we're now going to cut out some branches for his, kind of represent his arms and stuff. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to just cut some straight branches. I'm going to cut out just a chunk of brown felt to use. And what we're going to do is we're going to just cut out some twigs of some kind. So I'm just going to kind of go down and then add some little elements of like other little twigs off of them. So I have my 3 different twigs, and I'm going to put my brown felt to the side, and I have my buttons as well. And now I'm going to put that all to the side to cover our headband, because once we cover our headband, we'll be able to put everything together. So the way I cover the headband is I take the side of the fabric and I line the headband up, and I just go along the headband with some glue, and then I just stretch over the fabric and place it down on the headband. And you do it to the about 50% mark on this. And once I go across the whole headband, I just pull it tight on the headband. You want to make sure that once you do that the glue's dry before you do this. You pull it tight and then I just trim. So I take about a finger, I'm putting my finger underneath. It's about a fingertips length. I just trim all the way down. So I kind of rub my fingers up against the headband and go across with my scissors. And we're gonna now fold it over and fill in the other side of the headband. And you want to leave some extra at the end, so I just kind of cut an extra tab at the end so that when we fold over the fabric to secure the ends. So all I'm going to do now is go down the other side of the headband. And we have our headband folded over. Now I'm going to just go through and trim up the fabric. And this might be easier if you have some mini scissors to be able to do it with that. I'm just going to use the regular scissors for right now to just trim up the fabric all the way around. And then you might need to secure some of it with a little extra glue. Now I am gonna grab some ribbon and do a trim of ribbon down the inside. So I'm gonna take this white ribbon and I'm just gonna place it through the inside. So I'm just gonna go through and put a line of glue down the middle and just put some ribbon. This just helps to secure the two sides together. And I just like the way this looks. It also helps it a little bit on the head. This ribbon has some texture to it, so it helps it be a little bit smoother on the head and fit better. And when I get to the end, I just trim the ribbon. And then we are going to fold over the side. So all I'm going to do is put some little bit of dollop of glue. And just to make a little end to it, we just kind of fold it over and fold it up on that dollop of glue and then trim off the excess. So I just make a little folded end to it to make it nice and secure, and then we just take this excess and we trim this off. And there is our finished headband. So I have all my pieces. I'm gonna go without the trim. I just like the way that these look. This fabric, I kind of like the way it looks without trim. So now I'm just going to glue on our ears first. So I'm just going to line up our ears and put a nice dollop of glue through the bottom part of the ears and secure those on. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other ear. I'm just going to put a nice dollop of glue. And then we're going to secure it to this side. And then we're going to take our bow next is what I'm going to put on. And then I'm going to arrange the dots and the sticks onto the bow. So I'm going to put the bow. I'm going to put a nice dollop of glue in the center here. And put the bow on. And then I like to secure my bow to each side, but I'm going to wait to do that till after I put on all of our little extra decorations. So the first thing I'm going to put on is on this side, I'm going to put our 3 little dots. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of each one of these and line them up. And now I can secure the bow now that I put the 3 dots. I just wanted to make sure that the bow wasn't going to be in the way. So I just go on and put a dollop of glue and then kind of glue the bow how I want it onto the ear. This also just helps to secure the ear from flopping around a little bit more. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to take a nice dollop of glue and secure our bow to this ear. Just add some more support to the ears themselves. And now I'm going to flip over my ears and I'm going to glue the 3 sticks onto the back of the headband. So I'm just going to kind of line them up the way I like them to look, and we're going to glue these onto the back of our headband. So there is our ears. They're nice and glued together. I think they look awesome. I'm going to add little Olaf to the middle just to add something to the ears. I think he's cute and it will just show that they're Olaf ears. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to add a bunch of glue to the back of this, and I'm just going to secure him on to our bow. And we have our finished Olaf inspired ears. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning to make these ears. I think they came out awesome. I'm super excited to have these in my collection. I love Olaf and think these Olaf ears look awesome. I have the little Olaf wishable behind me and I think they match perfectly. I just think these came out awesome. I love how simple they are. You don't even need the Olaf little gem in the middle to know that they're Olaf. I just think they're super cute and I'm very excited with how they came out. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you give them a try. I thought they were perfect for winter as it is winter time, and Olaf snowman, I thought they were perfect for right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's Advent opening, and I hope you guys answered today's question of the day. Welcome to day 22 of our pin Advent opening. Today's question of the day is another fun one. This one is, when was your first Disney trip? My first Disney trip was in 2005. I was 4 years old. But when was your first Disney trip, and do you remember your first Disney trip? I don't really remember most of my first Disney trip, but I know it was a good time, and I see lots of pictures from it that I know it was a lot of fun. But when was your first Disney trip, and do you remember your first Disney trip and some of the experiences you had on your first Disney trip? Today's design on the box is a Mickey snowflake. I think that's super cool, and we're going to pull out our pin for today. Today's pin actually goes with what yesterday's pin was, and it's the others of the Incredibles pin. This one is Dash, so it's another one of the smaller sized pins, but this one actually goes on the next row. This row is smaller, so I am going to step it in a step to show that this is just the stem of the tree, but it is Dash, and it's looking awesome, and our tree's almost full. There's only a few more days till Christmas, so I'm excited to see the last few pins we receive in our set.